When you hear the news that a new rule from Trump could remove millions of Indians from America, it don't just sound like politics. It don't just sound like some law on paper. It sounds like fear knocking on people's doors. It sounds like uncertainty creeping into families' dinner tables. It sounds like folks lying awake at night asking themselves, are we safe? Are we still welcome? Do we still belong in the place we worked so hard to call home? Because for so many people, America isn't just a country they live in. It's a dream they sacrificed everything for. It's the chance they fought to get, the opportunity they clung to when everything back home was tough. And it's the foundation they've built their whole future on. When somebody comes along and says a new rule could take that away, it shakes people to their core. It doesn't just threaten their papers, it threatens their very existence in the land they've grown roots in. You've got to understand something. Indians in America have been building, contributing, and creating value for decades. They're in classrooms, they're in hospitals, they're in tech companies. They're running small businesses on the corners of your neighborhoods. They've been paying taxes, raising children, sending money home, and building lives here that are woven into the fabric of America. They've been told for years that if you play by the rules, if you get your education, if you put in the hard work, you can stay, you can grow, you can belong. That's the American promise. But when a new rule comes that threatens to uproot them, people start wondering if the promise was ever real. It makes them doubt whether all the sacrifices, the long nights, the risks, they wonder if all of that was for nothing. And fear spreads quick. Fear don't just live in the hearts of the people directly affected, it spills into whole communities. A neighbor wonders if their friend will be gone next month. A child at school wonders if their classmate will still be there tomorrow. An employer who depends on the hard work of an Indian employee wonders if he's about to lose someone reliable. Children sit at the dinner table and overhear conversations, see their parents worried, and suddenly their childhood is filled with questions no child should have to ask. Will we have to leave? Will I see my friends again? Will I still sleep in my room tomorrow? That's the real power of a rule like this. It's not just words in a government office. It's a ripple of fear that spreads into living rooms, workplaces, schools, and churches. Politicians like to talk numbers. They'll say millions, like it's some neat statistic, like it's just a figure on a piece of paper, but when you break that millions down, each one of those numbers is a face, a story, a family. That number is a mother who came here on a student visa, worked 2 jobs, and is now raising kids who only know America as home. That number is a father who left his parents behind in India to chase opportunity here, and now he's sending his own kids to college in this land. That number is a young graduate working at a tech company, paying off student loans, chasing innovation, and adding to the progress of this nation. Numbers are cold. Stories are warm. And every million is made up of people who bleed, who dream, who hope, and who fear. But in moments like this, when fear is loud, you also see something else rise up. You see resilience. Because immigrant families have always had to be resilient. They've always had to navigate uncertainty. Whether it was stepping off a plane with 2 suitcases and no money, learning how to pronounce English words in classrooms where they were laughed at, or working shifts nobody else wanted. They've always had to prove themselves twice as much to be seen half as equal. And this rule, this new threat, is just another chapter in a long story of struggle and survival. Immigrants are used to challenges. They bend, but they don't break. They cry, but they get back up. They face the storm, but they keep walking forward. That's what resilience looks like. Now, let's be real. Fear is real. I'm not standing here saying it's easy, because it ain't. When you don't know what tomorrow holds, when you feel like your whole life depends on some signature on a piece of paper, it shakes you. But the danger is when you let fear paralyze you. Fear should make you alert, but it should never make you powerless. You cannot let fear stop you from preparing. You cannot let fear stop you from planning your next move, from connecting with people, from educating yourself, from staying informed. You have to live smart, not scared. You have to prepare for tomorrow even when tomorrow feels uncertain. And let me tell you something about rules. They change. Governments come and go, policies shift overnight, and what's written today can be rewritten tomorrow. That's how politics works. But what can't be erased is your work ethic. What can't be taken is your intelligence. What can't be undone is the knowledge you've gained, the networks you've built, the spirit you carry. That's your power, and that's something no president, no policy, no rule can ever completely strip away from you. So in the face of this new rule, you got 2 choices. You can either live every day in fear, waiting for the knock on the door, or you can live every day in preparation, knowing that no matter what happens, you are not powerless. You can lean on your community, you can find resources, you can pray, you can plan, and you can keep fighting for your place in the world. Because at the end of the day, Rules can remove people physically, but they can't erase the impact those people made. They can't erase the contributions immigrants have made to America's growth. They can't erase the truth that America was built by immigrants and continues to thrive because of them. That's a fact that no new rule can change. When you talk about America, when you talk about why so many people from all over the world, especially Indians, come here, it's not just about geography, it's about dreams. America has always been sold as the land of opportunity, the place where if you work hard, stay disciplined, and keep pushing, you can build a life better than the one you left behind. People cross oceans, they leave behind their families, they borrow money they don't even know if they can pay back, because deep down they believe America holds a shot at a future that their own country might not be able to give them. And when they arrive, they don't come with guarantees. They come with hope, and they tie those hopes to the opportunity to stay here long enough to see those dreams come true. For so many Indian families, the dream isn't just about themselves. It's about the generations that come after them. A father might come here and work jobs he never imagined just so his children can go to college. A mother might sacrifice her own career, her own ambition, so her kids can grow up with chances she never had. Every long shift, every late night study session, every sacrifice is tied to the belief that if they can just stay in America, the opportunities here will pay off. And when a new rule threatens that stay, when it whispers that the foundation could be ripped away, it doesn't just touch the paperwork, it shakes the very dream people built their lives around. Picture a student who left India with a suitcase and a scholarship. She's here in America studying engineering, believing that if she graduates, she'll find work in Silicon Valley. She'll innovate, she'll change lives, she'll send money home, she'll carry her family's hopes on her back. She ties her dream to being here. Now imagine telling her halfway through her degree that her stay might be cut short, that all those sleepless nights and struggles could be wiped away by a rule she has no control over. That's what we're talking about. That's the connection between dreams and the chance to remain here. Without one, the other collapses. And it's not just education, it's careers. A young man who came here on a work visa, giving his best at a company that values his skills, believing that one day he'll climb higher, maybe even start his own business. That climb is only possible if he can stay. Without that stay, without that security, every step feels like it could vanish under his feet. You can't build a skyscraper of dreams on a foundation that's being shaken by rules and policies. People don't just need opportunity, they need stability, and for immigrants, stability starts with knowing they are allowed to remain. Children tie their futures to staying in America too. For a child who grew up here, who speaks English better than their parents' native language, whose friends, teachers, and community are all here, America isn't just a place. It's home. Their dream is not about survival. It's about thriving, about playing sports, getting into college, becoming doctors, artists, entrepreneurs. Their dream is wrapped up in the idea that this is where they belong. When you threaten to take that away, you don't just disrupt their education, you shatter their sense of identity. You tell them the only home they've ever known might no longer be theirs. See, America has always been painted as the land where dreams come true. But what a lot of people don't realize is that for immigrants, that dream comes with double the effort, double the sacrifice, and double the risk. They put in twice the work because they know they don't have the luxury of failure. They can't afford to give up because their stay depends on proving their worth over and over again. Every promotion, every tax payment, every success is another way of saying, see, I belong here. That's how tight up opportunity is with the chance to remain. Take away the stay, and you take away the motivation that fuels those dreams. Now think about the businesses immigrants have started. Indian families running gas stations, convenience stores, restaurants, tech startups, you name it. They take risks most people wouldn't, because they believe this country rewards hard work and persistence. And a lot of times they succeed. But here's the thing. Every single one of those businesses is tied to the belief that they can stay long enough to grow it. Nobody invests in a shop they think they'll be forced to abandon in a year. Nobody risks their savings on a company if they think they'll be removed before it even gets off the ground. Opportunity and staying power are married together. Without one, the other doesn't exist. And let me tell you something else. Dreams aren't just personal. They ripple. One immigrant chasing opportunity inspires another. One family that makes it pushes another family to keep going. Kids see their parents sacrifice and it pushes them to aim higher. The presence of Indian immigrants succeeding in America encourages others to take the leap. But when policies threaten to cut those stories short, it sends a different message. It tells people that no matter how hard you try, no matter how many years you give, it can all be snatched away. That kind of message doesn't just hurt individuals. It dims the light of the American dream itself. The truth is, opportunity without security is like running a marathon on thin ice. You can sprint, you can sweat, you can pour your whole soul into it, but if the ice cracks under you, everything disappears in an instant. Immigrants don't want handouts. They're not asking for favors. They're asking for the chance to chase their dreams without the constant fear that it'll all be undone by a change in rules. They're asking for the stability to know that if they work hard, if they build, if they sacrifice, their effort won't be wasted. That's what staying means. It's not just about location. It's about preserving the possibility of the dream. So when we talk about dreams and opportunities being tied to staying in America, we're really talking about the soul of what immigration means. It's not just about a visa. It's about hope, sacrifice, ambition, and the belief that tomorrow can be better if you just hold on today. And every time a new rule threatens to take that stay away, it doesn't just threaten the presence of immigrants in this land. It threatens the very heartbeat of the dreams they came here to chase. When politicians start talking about immigration, the first thing they usually reach for is numbers. They'll talk about how many visas, how many people overstayed, how many are being deported, how many jobs are being filled. They'll argue back and forth about percentages, taxes, and economic charts, and to them it all sounds like strategy. But what gets lost in those conversations, what hardly anybody ever talks about in the halls of power, is the human side. The lives, the faces, the tears, the celebrations, the sacrifices. Those don't show up in statistics. They don't appear in debates. But that's where the real story of immigration is. You take an Indian family, for example, that left everything behind to come to America. Maybe the parents had decent jobs back home, but they wanted more for their children. So they sold land, borrowed money, and made the leap. They came here with 2 suitcases and a pocket full of hope. Now fast forward a few years. They're working long hours, maybe the father driving Uber after his day job, the mother taking care of kids while studying at night. Also, the kids can go to school, learn English, and have opportunities they never had. You don't see that side when politicians talk about millions of immigrants. They don't mention the little boy who stays up late trying to understand homework his parents can't help him with it because they're still learning the language. They don't mention the grandmother who misses home every single day but sacrifices because she knows her family has a better shot here. That's the human side, and it's invisible in politics. When you hear removing millions of Indians, the picture that comes to mind for lawmakers might be a crowd. But to the families, it's not a crowd. It's their mother, their father, their daughter, their son. It's the young woman who just got accepted into medical school. It's the man who's been saving every penny for 10 years to open a store. It's the little girl who's been practicing her lines for the school play, excited to see her parents in the audience. That's what removal really means. It means lives interrupted, dreams broken, plans destroyed. It means telling a child who only knows America as home that they have to leave behind their friends, their teachers, their community. It means a college student who studied hard, who worked internships, who believed that effort equals reward, suddenly being told none of that matters because a rule change. And the truth is, immigration isn't just about the people coming here. It's about the relationships they build with the people already here. Neighbors who share food, co-workers who share stories, classmates who sit together at lunch. When you rip somebody out of that, you're not just removing them, you're breaking bonds. You're leaving holes in workplaces, in classrooms, in communities. You're leaving behind American friends who feel the loss just as much. But in politics, that don't get mentioned. Politicians don't say, "We're about to break up friendships." They don't say, "We're about to make a child cry because her best friend moved overnight." They don't say, "We're going to cause stress and anxiety that will linger for years." They just say, "Millions removed," like it's some sterile policy decision. And let me tell you something else about the human side of this. Immigrants carry stories of courage, stories of sacrifice that go way beyond what most people even realize. A father who worked 3 jobs so his daughter could go to school. A mother who gave up her own career dreams to make sure her family had stability. A student who lived in a tiny apartment, eating the same food every day just so they could pay tuition. Those stories don't get told in debates, but they are real. They are powerful. And they are the heartbeat of what immigration actually looks like. It's easy to talk tough about immigration when you're sitting in an office far removed from the lives you're affecting. But it's harder to look a child in the eye and tell them they have to leave their school, their friends, their soccer team. It's harder to stand in front of a family that's been paying taxes for 20 years and tell them they're no longer welcome. That's the human side politicians avoid. Because when you see people as people instead of numbers, the decisions don't come as easy. When you humanize the issue, it forces you to confront the pain you're causing. And most folks in power would rather not carry that weight. But here's the thing. When we ignore the human side, we're not just failing immigrants, we're failing ourselves. Because at the end of the day, America ain't just about laws, it's about people. It's about the values we claim to stand for: opportunity, freedom, justice. If we only see immigrants as statistics, we lose the chance to see what they bring to the table: resilience, creativity, innovation, diversity of thought, and culture that enriches us all. The food we eat, the technology we use, the businesses we walk into. So much of that has an immigrant's fingerprints on it. But if all we see is numbers, we miss that richness. Think about it. Behind every visa application is somebody's dream. Behind every work permit is somebody's chance to provide for their family. Behind every green card is years of waiting, hoping, and proving themselves. And behind every deportation order is a family broken apart, a child traumatized, a community left emptier. That's the reality that never shows up in headlines, because it doesn't fit neatly into a sound bite. But it's real. It's happening every day, and it matters. So when we talk about Trump's new rule, and what it might mean for millions of Indians in America, we can't just stop at the numbers. We can't just let the debate be about policies and politics. We have to pause and remember that each one of those people is somebody's loved one, somebody's coworker, somebody's friend. Each one of them carries a story that deserves to be seen and respected. That's the part politicians don't talk about. But that's the part that makes all the difference.